Hey, what's up, team? Welcome in. It's good to see you. So recently, Hidetaka Miyazaki, the executive director for Fromsoftware Studios, sat down with Bonfire, which is the Chinese outlet Zhuanian, for an interview, and they actually asked him a lot of questions. I'm not going to go through all of it, but I want to talk about a little bit of the stuff that they discussed. So let's go ahead and dig right in there. So one of the questions was, what was the reason for deciding to tell Shadow of the Golden Tree as a massive DLC in the first place? And he says, actually, we already had the idea in mind when we were developing the game base. Elden Ring was written by George R.R. Martin, developed on the basis of the myth created by him. And at that time, we felt the volume was too large and it was difficult to stuff it into the ontology. So it's not deliberately part of the DLC, it's something that's already there. And they say, in the past, Dark Souls was released 2 or 3 DLC content, but this time Elden Ring has concentrated all the content into one DLC. It is also for similar considerations. Then he says, Elden Ring emphasizes the exploration and adventure of a large world, and in order to provide such an experience, it is inevitable that a vast, huge setting is needed. So instead of breaking it into several parts, it is better to make it bigger, and if it is released separately, the freedom of exploration and the sense of adventure will be discounted. That actually makes a lot of sense. Like this is what they did with Bloodborne. They combined the DLCs into one, so they're given a little bit of reason for that here. Will there be new weapons and magic affect the game? The DLC adds a lot of new weapons, new skills, and new spells. In terms of weapon types alone, 8 new categories have been added. So once again, he's saying 8 new categories. And even players who are already proficient in the main game will be able to enjoy a new gameplay experience and develop new tactics. Of course, these new elements are not limited to the DLC, but can be brought to the main game, and interested players can try to challenge the existing bosses with the new weapons. And then they say, is there a 2-week design for the DLC? And he says, actually similar to the main body. Entering the DLC in the second week of the main body is equivalent to the difficulty level of the second week of the DLC. Of course, there will be a lot of hidden elements, and maybe what you didn't find in 1 week will have a new experience in the second week. And this one's really good right here. How long does the DLC last? Would you recommend players to clear the main story or experience the DLC first? And he says, I don't think I'm the right to answer the question of length. I revealed in an interview before the release of Elden Ring that it would take about 30 hours to get through the game, but after launch everyone said I was a liar, and in fact it was not enough. I remember a lot of people were saying, dude, what are you talking about 30 hours? Like, that's like not enough. Like, it takes like way longer to do that. Will the DLC solve the story puzzles, or will it bring new content to discuss? Some of the mysteries left by the main game will be solved, and as for whether there will be new holes on top of this, I can't guarantee it, but in general, I will have a deeper understanding of the world and the story of the game through the DLC. And then this one's really good. This meant a lot to me. In the concept art of Shadow of the Golden Tree, there are a lot of curtain-like things in the background of the broken golden tree. What are the meanings of these curtains? And I've seen several players talking about these curtains. We want players to feel that the Shadowlands and Junctions were physically separated and sealed worlds. As for the part where the curtain disappeared, it is not convenient to reveal at this time. It can be said that the reason why the broken shadow tree in this picture is designed in this way is to convey the impression that the world where the will is twisted and gradually collapses. So for me, this is huge. The curtains, like, they're a really good artistic touch. A lot of people are really curious about the curtains. So, and then here in this game, there are 2 items with very similar appearances. Mikola's water lilies, and it says Tolina, but this is Trina water lilies, and we all know Mikola, so will there be a role for Trina in the DLC, and what is the relationship between her and Mikola? And then he says the identities of Mikola and Trina have sparked a lot of discussion since the release of the base game. They can be seen as different existences, but we don't want to disclose that specific relationship yet, and I hope you will find out for yourself. What can be said is that Trina does appear in the DLC, and the relationship between the two will be further explained. So we did see in the DLC, like it went into the shot and it showed like Trina laying on the ground in the purple water surrounded by the Trina lilies, and everybody was like, oh, this is Saint Trina. So, and there is like a little bit more here, but I think we run out of time. But I'm gonna put the link below in the video description. Keep in mind this article is in Chinese, so you are gonna have to use a translator to see it. But they do talk about a lot here. This was a really good interview with a lot of really good questions asked. I really liked it a lot. So I love you guys. I appreciate you. If you have a comment or anything to say, definitely leave it in the comments below. Take it easy, and I'll see you later.